much, Sunita. Can we put our hands together and thank her? A very good afternoon to Ms. Jacqueline Poh, EDB Managing Director. A warm welcome, Mr. Dirk Forrester, President and CEO of IETA. Can we put our hands together to welcome him? And many of you flew in from different parts of the world, and many of you are from US. And again, I want to thank Ms. Andrea Tan. She is the Singapore Bureau Chief for Bloomberg. Thank you for supporting and curating this, and also thank you for continuing to grow your team here based in Singapore. And also a warm welcome to Mr. Mark Miller. Mr. Mark Miller, I think just flew in a few days ago, told me that he got over his jet lag. He is the global editor for Bloomberg Live, and a warm welcome to all of you. And it is my privilege, and I'm very delighted to be here with you in the presence of distinguished sustainability leaders gathered here. And I know that you have had a very fruitful time at the Bloomberg Sustainable Business Summit. Now, like what Sunita has mentioned, today we are really united by a shared commitment to accelerate global climate action. Later on, we will mark the launch of the Singapore Carbon Market Alliance, in short, SCMA, jointly established by the Economic Development Board, EDB, and IETA. The alliance aims to scale up the availability and the trade of high-quality carbon credits in alignment with Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. I was just sharing with Mr. Forrest. I said congratulations, but amongst us, I think in this room we have many business leaders. I think today we really welcome the launch of the alliance, but all of us will say that, you ask us, I think a lot of us are very impatient. We would have loved for it to be launched yesterday or even last week or even last year. So this is to show that there's a huge demand for this. And the alliance is indeed a very timely development that will speed up national and global momentum for climate action. Now, despite our constraints as a small island nation and lack of alternative energy resources, Singapore has committed to achieve net zero emissions by year 2050. And we have taken several steps towards this ambitious goal. I was telling Andrea, Mark, and Dirk earlier that you remember our then DPM and now Prime Minister Lawrence Wong shared our net zero ambition by 2050 at the Singapore International Energy Week. I think Geraldine will remember about 2 years ago, and also shared about the carbon peak before 2030. And I think the business leaders and head honchos will know that when the Singapore government says it, we not only plan to achieve it by then, but we will put in place intermediate milestones to galvanize the whole of society, the industry, and various ministry and agencies, including schools, including people based here, to make sure that we march together towards achieving net zero. Now, for example, in year 2019, we introduced carbon tax for industrial facilities with direct emissions of at least 25 kilotons per annum to steer the businesses towards greener practices. We were the first country in Southeast Asia to do that. We are also actively investing in the research and development of promising abatement technologies such as low-carbon hydrogen, as well as carbon capture and storage, CCUS. Now, while our priority is domestic decarbonization, we also recognize that such abatement technologies require time to mature, and hard-to-abate sectors may find it challenging to significantly cut the emissions in the near term to the medium term. So, as part of Singapore's holistic decarbonization approach, we allow the use of high-integrity carbon credits to offset a proportion of companies' carbon tax. From this year, carbon tax liable companies can offset up to 5% of their taxable emissions with high-quality international carbon credits that meet our published environmental integrity criteria. Our commitment to Article 6 of the Paris Agreement really underscores Singapore's support for unlocking additional carbon mitigation potential in other parts of the world. Now, this not only helps Singapore to achieve our climate goals, but also advances sustainable development across the globe. Because I think when it comes to climate action, we all need to be in sync, not just within a country, but regionally and globally. Currently, we are pursuing Article 6.2 partnerships with more than 20 countries. And thus far, we have signed implementation agreements with 2 countries, Papua New Guinea and Ghana. Even within the Ministry of Trade Industry, Jacqueline will know, we have reorganized ourselves to really prepare ourselves with the necessary structure and the necessary resources and the headcounts to support this work. In fact, my colleague, Minister of State for Trade and Industry, Mr. Alvin Tan, recently led a business delegation all the way to Ghana to facilitate the development of carbon mitigation projects between Singapore and Ghana, and we continue to do so. And we are proactively doing so. We have also signed MOUs with 14 countries in regions such as Latin America, Asia, and also as far as Africa. Now, under these MOUs, we will work towards the implementation agreements to identify potential Article 6 compliant mitigation activities. This will position us to cooperate bilaterally on carbon credits that's aligned with Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. So I think on that note, I think all of us are in this room because we all know that the carbon market is an important mechanism for supporting also voluntary climate goals. While regulatory requirements set a baseline, I think we can all agree that voluntary credits enable the companies to go above and beyond compliance. Right? We want to make sure that companies who want to do so willingly and voluntarily, we can enable them to do so. So when paired with a credible decarbonization strategy, these voluntary carbon credits allow the businesses to demonstrate leadership and commitment and to drive sustainability both within and beyond their value chain. Earlier on, the few of us, we were chatting, and we said that it is no longer a good to do, but we must. All of us, think through how do we become compliant with Paris Agreement, because every company is a supplier to some other company. So in a way, your customers are also expecting us, even if we are not compliant now, but do we have a roadmap, towards that? And I think that commitment is important for companies. Now, despite the potential, we also know that saying is easy, but sometimes, there will be some bumps along the road. Carbon markets are not easy to navigate. Now, as it is early days, both the compliance as well as the voluntary markets are still evolving, really literally as we speak. For example, the universe of rules, the universe of standards, the universe of methodologies can be complex and also challenging. We were all talking, at what point in time will we see a global standard? Now, in addition to that, the recent controversy in the carbon markets have also unfortunately heightened concern and scrutiny on the use of credits. But having said that, I think rather than being discouraged, I like to see, all of us have a glass of water. We should see it as half glass full and not half glass empty. So I urged the company, I said, do not wait for things to be clearer, because that might take some time. I think we all need to now roll out a sleeve and get involved. So rather than being discouraged, I think this really is the time for us to channel our collective will to overcome these teething difficulties and together advance the carbon markets. I want to assure you that Singapore is committed to contributing to the growth of the carbon markets by convening constructive actors and trusted expertise. Now, this includes carbon services and trading firms specializing in low-carbon advisory, project development, financing, as well as verification. I think some of you are in the room involved in this ecosystem, because all these are important to help the companies navigate the complex landscape of carbon markets and support the design as well as the delivery of high-quality carbon projects. Today, we are home here in Singapore, Little Red Dot. We are home to more than 120 carbon services and trading firms and counting. Many of these firms are, in fact, global leading organizations that play a key role in driving environmental impact and supporting companies in achieving their climate goals. I see many familiar faces because we have met at various other platforms. I'm glad to see several of you all here today, and we want to commend you for your passion and commitment in driving sustainable change. Each and every one of you, you are here in this room because you are an opinion multiplier in this important ecosystem. We look forward to the launch of the SCMA shortly, and the SCMA will be a significant convening platform for Singapore's carbon services and trading ecosystem. It will bring together businesses with strong climate commitments, trusted carbon services firms, as well as government agencies to share expertise and network. And I believe truly in this ecosystem, 1 + 1 is certainly more than 2, perhaps more than 3 even. Now, starting with the Article 6 compliant carbon credits. So my colleague Jacqueline, she will share more about the alliance, and I look forward to her sharing. So we look forward to the role that SCMA will play in building knowledge and strengthening partnership to support vibrant and high-integrity carbon markets here and beyond. So again, on behalf of the Singapore government, on behalf of Ministry of Trade and Industry, we want to extend our heartiest congratulations to EDB and IETA on the launch of the alliance. Let us continue to boldly seize the opportunities to build high-integrity carbon markets together for a low-carbon future for all. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much, Sunita. It's really a pleasure to be in the company of such a distinguished gathering of organizations who are all not greenwashing in any way, shape, or form, and really committed to making climate action work. I want to begin by thanking our Senior Minister of State, Ms. Ling, for your opening remarks and setting the perfect tone for today's occasion. We would also like to express our gratitude to Mr. Dirk Forrester and IETA for partnering us in establishing the Singapore Carbon Market Alliance. Your expertise and your dedication to advancing carbon markets globally have been invaluable in bringing this alliance to fruition. And to our audience, a very warm welcome. I'm heartened to see all of your support for the SCMA. Many of you hail from leading companies who have chosen to anchor your regional or global headquarters and manufacturing facilities in Singapore. We are grateful for your partnership, and we want to partner and support you in achieving your own climate goals. You hold the keys to the demand for Article 6 compliant carbon credits. We also have several carbon services firms with us today, and they are part of our growing ecosystem of more than 120 such carbon services and trading firms in Singapore. Most of you have set up in Singapore over the last 2 to 3 years, and you hold the keys to the verification and supply of high-quality carbon credits. The establishment of the Singapore Carbon Market Alliance therefore comes at a critical juncture. Now, we have spent the last week hearing about global heat records being broken on a daily basis, as well as other extreme weather events and changes to nature. As we face unprecedented global challenges posed by climate change, we need to pursue mitigation across multiple fronts. Climate financing through high-quality carbon markets is a pivotal tool in that arsenal against climate change. Both countries and companies need trusted carbon credits, both compliant and voluntary, as one way to meet their climate goals. However, as the Senior Minister of State highlighted, carbon markets are not without complexities or challenges. We hear from many of you that support is needed to build deeper knowledge in carbon credits. For example, on navigating the quality attributes and understanding Singapore's eligibility criteria for carbon credits. Carbon taxes are rising in Singapore, so this becomes even more urgent. We also hear you that connecting with reliable carbon services providers is important. And this is where the SCMA comes in. The role that SCMA plays is to pool together the networks and expertise to create a trusted ecosystem between the buyers and service providers of high-quality Article 6 carbon credits. The SCMA aims to serve as the platform for service providers, buyers, and government agencies to connect, to share, and collaborate. It is the first platform in Singapore focused on catalyzing Article 6 credits. This alliance is not in itself a marketplace. There are actually other marketplaces, and we give due credence to them. But when we set up those marketplaces, either the private sector or in a public-private partnership a few years ago, we realized that they are very far downstream. And there's no point being very far downstream if there's nothing providing the solutions that are upstream. And there have been so many rocks along the road it's been very difficult from upstream to get to downstream. So this is actually timely. This is where we need to be at this point of time. So we are facilitating a space and platform to foster the knowledge and meaningful connections between the different stakeholders here. The objectives of the SCMA are threefold. First, to build knowledge on enabling and accessing the Article 6 credits. For example, Ghana and Papua New Guinea, as mentioned, or many of the 14 other MOU countries. I mean, we've signed these agreements. As yet, there are no credits. So we need to work together on this. Second, to facilitate updates and exchanges on Singapore government's requirements and initiatives in carbon markets. We have representatives from across all the relevant government agencies here who are looking forward and prepared to share and exchange their insights with you. And thirdly, to connect the buyers and sellers of high integrity Article 6 credits. We will host workshops to equip all our members with the relevant knowledge. And for corporate buyers, we will cover topics from navigating the intricacies of carbon markets to Singapore's eligibility criteria under our own Carbon Pricing Act. For the carbon services firms here, we hope to help you better understand the processes required to participate in Singapore's Article 6 carbon market. We will also organize updates by the Singapore government about our latest initiatives in carbon credits. For instance, the upcoming carbon credit mission trips, and the latest thinking about Singapore's eligibility list. You know, I grew up in the civil service, as you can see from my CV, and all this time, we've never ever thought we'd ever be having a carbon credit mission trip. So this is all very new to us too. Thirdly, we will convene thematic roundtables on key areas in carbon markets and Article 6 relevant to our members' interests. We can design discussions around promising classes of credits in Southeast Asia, such as blue carbon and transition credits, which I know the MAS and some other parties are very interested in. We can also discuss ways to access credits in partner countries that Singapore has signed those MOUs or implementation agreements with. Lastly, we will provide opportunities for members to engage with one another, forge meaningful collaborations, and embark on new initiatives. I am proud to share that currently we have more than 50 members from leading companies across various sectors, including technology, energy, healthcare, semiconductors, logistics, and carbon services. We have deliberately made this a by-invite-only alliance, comprising only of companies we know have strong interest and commitment to high-quality credits, buying or selling. So if you do come across like-minded companies aligned with us in SCMA's mission, do feel free to introduce them to the EDB team. So finally, and once again, thank you everyone for your support for the Singapore Carbon Markets Alliance. This alliance is only one of the initiatives that we intend to undertake and announce over the following few months. As you know, it'll be New York and COP season coming up soon, as Singapore grows its leadership in trusted carbon markets. So I invite everyone here to participate actively, listen hard, and work together to fulfill our commitment to a net zero world. Thank you.
May I invite you to officiate the launch of the Singapore Carbon Market Alliance by signing on the iPads. Wonderful. Thank you.
So this is going to be really easy, really short and sweet, because you guys did such an amazing job in the photo. But on behalf of IETA and our members, we have 340 members around the world, many of whom have a presence here in Singapore. But we're really excited about this alliance because it's innovative. It's different to have such a close working relationship with a government with whom we share a vision of what carbon markets can do for achieving the goals of the Paris Agreement. In fact, in all the studies that we've been involved in, the Paris goals are unachievable unless we find ways to work together across borders, across sectors, involving removals and emissions We've got to have it all, and we've got to work together in a bold way, as I think every speaker has said today. And this alliance really gives us a platform for bringing together some of the key players that deliver success in the market. So, Minister and Jacqueline, we're going to try to find you some credits. We will bring you credits, I promise. This group will deliver your credits. It's the structures that you provide and the incentives, the encouragement, and frankly, the market access to the Singapore market that matters so much. That is the type of structure that companies can invest around. So with that, I want to thank everyone and say the hard work is yet ahead of us. We look forward to working with all of you in this set of activities that will really accelerate the markets in Singapore and beyond. So thank you again, and congratulations everyone on helping to make this a success. Thank you.